do we have our man? Do we have our guy? We do. So, ladies and gentlemen, a good buddy of the show. They've been on the program for three or four times, Nikki and a whole bunch of other people from the Sherpa Pet Group. But, it goes right into our topic tonight. We're talking about traveling with pets. So who else better to talk to than the CEO of Sherpa Pet Group, makers of such beautiful, wonderful traveling bags and anything for your cats or your dog. So we got him on the line right now. Tim, you there?
Hey, I'm here. How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm good.
How's Jersey?
Hey, it's a beautiful night in Jersey. So
Great.
We don't get them all the time. It's a hot summer, but tonight couldn't be better.
So we're talking about traveling with pets, and Dr. Mike over here, we talked a little bit about short-term types of travel, back and forth, from one area to another area in a city,
like in a car, for instance, or a short-term flight versus going overseas and. Yeah,
and stuff, and we thought, who better to have on the program, but you to talk about what people have to go through in terms of. He's still laughing about the Jersey Shore thing. We're talking about what you have to do because a lot of people, it's a big thing to go from one city to another city in an airplane, or even if you're going in a car back and forth to a friend's house and they're in a bag.
Yeah, you want them to be safe and you want them to be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about what you do with your bags that makes them so airplane safe and so car safe, and what's the difference between your company and others in terms of travel?
Yeah, because we never talk about in terms of car safety. We always talk in terms about air safety and the great relationships you have with the airlines. So let's talk a little bit about both of those.
Well, it's anytime traveling with your pet or even traveling with your kids, there's always a certain amount of preparation that needs to go into it. We also think it's important that you do a little training before. We have the oddest calls we get are the guys that ran to a store, bought some new carrier, and their poor dog has never been in one in their life, and they stuffed them in there, and they, for some reason, don't understand why the dog's not just laying down and sleeping. So, it's preparation and training, and it'd be kind of like the first time you put your baby in a car seat. If they've never been in one, locked them down and said, "Okay, we're going across the country." It probably wouldn't go real well. So, it's just common sense is a big issue that we try to really educate people and say, "Look, think this thing through a little bit, be prepared, and make sure you buy something that's the right size, the right fit." And something that you can get them used to. Make it their second home.
Now, do you have a little pamphlet that comes with your bags where people can actually do those sort of things? You're saying preparation stuff where not are they getting the bag, but the bonus is that they figure out, they learn how to get their dog used to it and the like. Do you?
Yeah, we provide, in our carriers, we provide information. We got download information. Our Guaranteed On Board airline program, when you print out that Guaranteed On Board, it also prints out a whole host of tips and ideas and things that you should do when you travel. And, we've gotten some great feedback from people of, gee, I never really thought about it. Here's a little tidbit. Why would you not buy the biggest possible carrier to put your dog in when you're traveling? Because they get car sick or they get motion sickness. If there's too much room and they rock around inside of a carrier, they actually get motion sickness. So you want to size your carriers to where they fit comfortably and safely without too much movement. We found that's been a big issue. Guys getting a large carrier for a very small dog and then wondering why their dog got sick.
Right. Yeah, I try to tell people you want to literally get them. They just should be comfortable enough where they can move around and turn around, but you don't want something huge because you're right. Motion sickness is huge with these guys when they're in the big, huge carrier. They're just bouncing around back and forth, and it makes sense going on a roller coaster ride. You don't want to sit in something that you're flying back and forth. You want to be snug and in there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, I got two things before we let you go. First thing is I have a cat. Now, my cat, for some odd reason, and I don't know what it is, maybe it's motion sickness, every time she gets inside of a bag, and we've had this before where we've actually purchased a Sherpa bag, and she, what's the word?
Defecates.
Yeah, she lets one loose in there, and it is horrific, and then we have to throw away the bag, right?
Yep.
And I don't know how to deal with that unless there's it's like replaceable things.
Get a new Sherpa bag with the cork that you.
Just kidding.
There's a couple things we recommend people if they have a problem. Once of course you can take the removable lining out and replace it. The other thing is you can take a Sherpa bag and submerge it. You can't put it in a wash machine, but submerge it in a warm, soapy water. Let it soak for a while. Take it out and then use something like a urine off, one of those kind of cleansers, and then let it air dry, and it usually takes care of the odor.
Neat. Okay,
that's a great tip.
So that's a good tip.
Now, finally, I want you to give me some tips over here for people that are about to go onto a flight. They have a Sherpa bag. They have an animal, or a very well. I'm not going to go there. But okay, they have an animal. They want to board the plane. Now, what are some of the tips that you would tell some of these people if they have a Sherpa bag compared to if they didn't have a Sherpa bag from another company?
Well, the first thing I would tell them to do is go to our flygob.com site, check out the airline that they're flying on, go through, fill out the form, because it tells them the regulations and things they have to do to be on that flight. And it's really peace of mind. If they don't get on that flight for some reason, I'll pay their airline ticket and their pet fees to them. So we do that. It does two things. First of all, it's an education process. All the different airlines have different minor rules and regulations and sizes. Do you need a health certificate? Not need a health certificate? Those kinds of things. That's really what that program does. It gives you a document to take with you to the airport. And it really was so that the airline people knew that you had gone through the process and that you did have the rules and that you were in compliance. So that's the first thing I would tell them to do. The second thing is make sure that they have really got their pet used to being in a carrier and put something that smells normal. The night before you go, sleep in a T-shirt, throw it in the carrier so there's a fresh smell, because when you're traveling, those smells, you're putting them underneath the seat with everybody's feet. There's obviously a lot of different smells that are going to come out. So give them something that they know is really familiar to them. Get to the airport early. You've got to take the carrier through. You got to go through security. You got to take your pet out of the carrier. The carrier's got to get scanned. You got to do all that stuff. Make sure you take time. Don't feed them a whole lot right before you put them in the bag. Once again, feed them 3 to 4 hours before you go. Have a small amount of water with you if you can. Depending on the length of the flight, you need to prepare for. Are you going to be stopping once, stopping twice? If you've got a layover, take a wee pad with you. You can always take your pet around the corner somewhere and let them use the bathroom.
Right.
Some of the airports are actually creating pet areas to take them out, and
that's cool.
That's kind of like AstroTurf inside the airport.
Yep. So there's
awesome.
There's more and more accommodations, but it's really plan ahead. Make sure you have your timeline so you're not rushing. Make sure you don't have a big stress night the night before with your pet. It's travel intelligently. Just think I'm taking my kids or I'm taking my grandmother, and I'm getting ready to make a trip. You take a senior dog, an older dog. It's like taking a grandparent.
Right.
Exactly. And you got to just think they're creatures, and they have some of the same things that we go through. And reducing stress on yourself and on your pets, key part of having a great trip.
Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, your website is SherpaPetGroup.com to see all the different brands that you have, or you can go to SherpaPet.com, get all the information for any of the bags, the products you can find anywhere in North America, and get all the information you really want to see what airline you're choosing and see what you can do in terms of bringing your animal on board with a Sherpa bag. It's absolutely fantastic. Tim,
hey, guys,
you have a great weekend.
It.
Take care of yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, take care. When you're in Jersey, come see me.
I will.
See ya.
Take care.
Right,
That's
bye.
Tim Ford from Sherpa Pet Group. You know what? Very interesting.